Hold on, everybody. I know. I'm trying. Here we go. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. How are you? Everybody. I know. Well, hi. I'm trying. Here we go. Hello. Yes. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. How are you? Everybody. I know. Well, hi. I'm trying. Here we go. All right, we have an enormous amount of feedback, so I'm going to try and see what we can do. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. How are you? I know. Well, hi. I'm trying. Here we go. All right, we have an enormous amount of feedback, so I'm going to try and see what we can do. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. How are you? I know. Well, hi. I'm trying. Love technology, but sometimes you gotta flow with it, right? I think that I know that working in this space that we're so honored to work in an end of life, like we realize that nothing is an emergency. It puts things in perspective. Although that being said, there can definitely be frustrations and it's all human, but if you just do the best you can in life, right? Show up with an open heart, do the best you can, and then everything flows from there. Welcome to Life Cafe. My name is Suzanne B. It's so good to see you all here. Let me just make sure, Nicole, that I'm making you a co-host so you can continue to let people in. There you go. As we have this beautiful, thriving global community. And it is one of the most, when I think back on, we're coming up on Thanksgiving next week in the United States. And when I think back on last year at this time, and, I was just saying, you never know, life is so fascinating. You never know what's around the corner. And, it does this, right? But always having your faith and using your tools and knowing when you are able to really understand that bigger picture. And I think there's something beautiful about midlife. So let's just shout out to the aging and our midlife, because I will tell you that when they talk about a midlife crisis, so you've heard that, people go and they buy a sports car, whatever happens. To me, it's not a midlife crisis. It's really an energetic space in the journey that allows you to really take inventory. What has gone on here? What have I been doing? And also what's important to me. So in 3 kind of set phases, I think about life's journey as, come out of the womb and it's all about me, right? People hopefully, oh, so cute. And it's kind of, you're like, it's my world, right? And then hopefully you get to a place where you understand it's about we, that there is an exchange. And then you get to this golden, beautiful, hopefully part in the journey where you say, how can I contribute? How can I serve? How can I share? What is my gift to share? And I think a lot of us in that midlife are saying, wait a minute, there's so much more here. I know there's so much more, but what is it? And so I don't think, again, that it's a crisis that's a negative thing at all. I think it's an organic, energetic space that allows you to say, am I going to continue to go down this path, or this is my opportunity to shift? And again, there's no judgment ever in anything that you choose, but I think it's so fantastic to just realize, again, the bigger picture and that you do have choices. Because when you find that flow and when you're able to share your personality, who you are with that gift that you were brought in to give to the world, it's kind of like this amazing magic of love. And gosh, it's just a great place to be. This is part of that community. So knowing that we had Life Cafe 3 times a week during the pandemic, we spent Thanksgiving together, we had Christmas together, and we have this ongoing, incredible, global light worker family. So thank you for being here. And this is Life Cafe. So again, this is really your time for sharing. It's really where we meet in presence with no judgment to really see and hear each other, because that's the medicine. And it's also something that we're basically missing from our world, is that true presence. And of course, we could talk all day long about judgment with no judgment, but the observation of judgment and how much we're out there just judging away and pointing fingers. And if we just took care of our journey, not worried about their journey, not worried about what they have or what I don't have. What is my journey and gift? My gosh, if we all got grounded in that with the principles of the world, and I think we're doing it very well. So again, this is your group. So whoever would like to start off and bring us into the beginning. Karen, I just have to say, I love the photo of you as your screensaver of New York City. I know what that was. I believe that was the 7 o'clock clapping during the pandemic in New York. And I have to tell you that, you know, there are times that I was out there in the rain with my sound bowl, because I wanted to make sure that like healthcare workers knew, but I also knew how many people were alone and frightened in their apartments. And I wanted them to know that we are here together. Yeah, a little intense. So I feel like that was part of one of the pictures that you posted from the 7 o'clock. And I just love seeing it.
Yes, that was so special. You know, it was all of that. And at 7 o'clock, I knew that I was still here, that we
Yeah.
were still here, that we made it through another day. And it just,
Yeah.
3 months I recorded out the window. It was just like amazing.
It is amazing. I have some videos too of us doing that, and it was amazing and a beautiful thing that the fact that you have all those recorded, you put that in one place, you know, and yeah, we could go on, and I'm sure we will. It was really something. It was really something experiencing that. But again, together, guys, no matter where we are in this world, we are together, and COVID really brought that to the forefront of awareness, because it touched absolutely every corner of the world. And I know that when my friends in Thailand, when I went into the mountains to be the caregiver for an elephant at the end, you know, up high, they were locked down with COVID, like every little place in the world. And it reminds us that, gosh, we're in this together. And I remember specifically sharing back then is that we know that things pass, right? So we know that the constant is life, which I think always hold us off into that moment. But what we really wanted to say with each other is we don't know what's going on. Nobody really fully knew. So you had to ground in your trust. But how do we want to look back on this time period that we can really be kind to one another, because we're all going through it. So just showing up, and that's what we want. So Karen, we'll one day get together and rehash the whole New York, because it was an adventure in and of itself, but again, really beautiful. So thank you, my dear. All right, Veronica, your hand is up. So do you want to start us off?
Hi, it's Veronica. Today
Hi, Veronica.
I am in Long Key, Florida, on my house on wheels, getting ready to get my business all put up. So I had this experience yesterday, and I just had to share it with everybody. So I'm sitting at a table on a catamaran with another woman that I just met out of nowhere, you know, and we start talking, and come to find out we have a lot in common. She was also a ICU, CCU nurse back in her career. And when I told her that I was going to be an end of life doula, she was all excited about it for me. But then she was passionate about me ministering in my care. And I said, no, that's not where we come from. I said, we accept you for you exactly where you are.
Yes.
But it's like, no, this is how this works. and she was just like blown away. Well, you have to get out of that one. You have to get into one that'll let you minister. And I'm going, no, you don't get it. It's their end of life journey. And I'm only there to guide them. I'm not there to give them any input about where they are or what they're doing or how it's going to happen. I'm just there to guide them gently to a peaceful passing. Oh, she was just blown away that I just couldn't wrap my head around that. It's like, no, I'm wrapping my head around it very, very nicely. Thank you.
Veronica, this is a very, very important teaching for all of us.
Yeah, I just had to share that. Thanks.
Yeah, so thank you. So let's really dive into that, because it's so good. one of the things that working in end of life has solidified in my journey and taught me is that there's two directionals that we have that I really wasn't clear on. We have the analytical, mental, programmed part of us, which by the way is mostly how you see the world being run. That's based on, you know, all the things that are labels and worth and I'm right and you're wrong and culture and society and all the reasons that we're pointing fingers and so separate, right? It makes us feel like we're separate. And then there's the heart, the wisdom, the, again, very simplistic, beautiful foundational laws of the universe, gratitude, no judgment, high service, to show up, right? These are really simple, and that's what that heart shows us. And so I'm not saying, again, we're not judging this other woman, but when people don't realize that there's actually two ways that you have been gifted, let's call it gift, everything is a gift, right? To experience this journey with. And of course, awareness and knowledge is key, because the undoing of the ego's directional is really the whole reason for life. It's to birth your soul within this dynamic that, again, is counterintuitive, and you've been programmed, and it's finding that home, that true self, that you're always loved and perfect and connected to all things, despite of what we've been told and programmed and everything. And it's a daily, if not an hourly, with no judgment. But what I love about what Veronica just shared is that this woman, and I'm sure she's coming from a very positive place in her thinking, is that she wants to help people and save people. And she feels that her vision, belief system is the one that can do that. But what is that? What directional is that? It is coming from a program type of thing. And I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm sure there's beautiful things in there. But what Veronica's planted, the seeds that she planted for this woman, and the way that she stood in her truth of saying that it's not my journey. It's not for me to decide or direct somebody. I'm here to show up, meet them where they are with no judgment, to be of the highest service. Now, you all know that I have a very, very strong belief system. And I tell you, you don't have to believe what I believe. I will tell you that I believe 1000% what I believe, but I also want you to be aware of, when you're working in the end of life space, the things that are common themes that will come up, because you need to know that. But if I'm working with a client, a patient at end of life, and they ask me, they say, Suzanne, you do this, you've seen, what do you believe? If they invite you in, for sure, you can share. But again, it's not for us to lead anyone. I think one of the most beautiful statements within this work and what you just shared is that we're here to be of service to you. This is your journey. And of course, safety is the only thing that we don't negotiate on. It's how we get that done. But everything else, guys, we're here to be of service to you. This is about your journey. And that's huge. So Veronica, thank you for standing in that truth. Thank you for planting those seeds. And again, it doesn't mean that we don't have strong beliefs in our own space, which I think many of us or all of us do, but we're not here to impose that on others, again, unless they want to discuss it, invite it in, and still it's just about a spiritual love and oneness. So good job. Rosie, your hand was up.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Suzanne. I was glad that you brought up the what you said about stages in life, because I mean, I was a single mom, then I was a married mom, and then finally I got to age 50 and I went, wait a minute, where am I and how did I get here? And it just started, what is going on? So it just started me on the spiritual path of, looking into energy healing, and now led me into this work. And I'm finally cutting myself some slack and saying, whether I serve as a volunteer, whether I serve my friends, as long as it's service, it doesn't have to have a dollar amount attached to it. It's just the teaching is so, so, so important. And I want to thank you for just reiterating the fact that we have to be upfront. We might not have a lot of time to have conversations. And so I'd always kind of watched what I said along my career, especially because people in health are really vulnerable. But I finally went, you know what? My dad's getting older. I don't have time to pussyfoot around. And well, we found out that he, in his home, he's chosen to stay in his home with my stepmom, who is only 3 years older than, or younger than he is. She acts like she's 20, but anyway. So they had to have a huge repair in their plumbing system because it was going to endanger their health. And so he's like, yeah, that's what happens. I tell everybody now I take a $17,000 crap. And so I emailed him and I said, Dad, it's the other end of the stick. You want to stay in your house, that's fine. But you have to take care of the house.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was so open. I think he was glad that it got brought up, you know, because the things that I've heard from them for so many years is, oh, we don't talk about that. It's like, no, we don't have time for that. We don't have time for that anymore.
This is really important because first of all, having a house, no matter what age you are, is a huge responsibility. Like, no, I mean, thank you, no, thank you. Like, it's a lot. You have to really want to do that. So as you age, and I know my parents are, in a house, and it's really always my dad who's been taking care of it. And you could see that it's too much, right? And I think for men as well, that they want to show that stoic strength and not, always admit, but what a very challenging place to be, aging yourself and then seeing things maybe not be able to take care of course, the money aspect of it. Let's talk about it all. And here's the key. What do you want, Dad? Like, my dad just wants to go golfing, and not do much. He doesn't want responsibility, but I think it's been a hard place for him to come to that conversation. And I think no one else was really asking him. Well, I do. I like to think, but the family, because they just, people just bop along and don't really approach these things. And it's a big thing. So that's great, Rosie. Yeah. What is the worst that can happen if we bring something up, guys, that somebody doesn't want to discuss? Then they say, I don't want to talk about it. But you know what? You planted seeds. And when we come from a place of, I want to be here to support you, what do you need? What would be the ideal thing? We can't always get ideal, but we can sure shoot for it. And then if we get a little lower, pretty good, right? But we've got to be able to have this. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Yeah. And
I kind of wanted him to move somewhere else, but he's 90 and he's got Parkinson's, and I'm thinking of the piece that muscle memory plays with safety. His bones and body are used to going down the hall, sitting in his chair, watching his football game. If he's got a whole new environment, it's going to just mess up his system completely.
Very true. That is significant. So of course you look for any safety apparent issues, but right. I think all of these things have to be weighed out and taken into, and that's a really good awareness that you just brought into that. Because we're creatures of habit. Sometimes we can do things in our sleep because we're like, oh, I know where, the table is and whatnot. Thank you, Rosie, for that.
Yeah.
All right. Delta, you had your hand up, and then Luna. Hello.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Hey, Veronica, I just wanted to tell you that I just moved out of my rig. I lived in my RV for over a year and a half, and that was a dream of mine. So keep on keeping on there, sister. That's awesome. So I wanted to just share something. I am, of course, going through this fall class, and I've been playing around with naming my business and so forth. And so I decided to do 2 pieces of my LLC to cover both offerings, both my patient advocacy for elders, which I've named Honor Elder Care. And nobody had that URL yet. So I was excited about that was an original name. And then for the death piece, I decided to use my name and call it Delta Waters Death Care. Nice. Same logo, but 2 different offerings. I shared it with my old college best friend who has no knowledge of any of this, is not in healthcare. I'm a nurse. I have a lot of nurse friends, but she is not. So I wanted to kind of play it off of her. And she was taken aback by the in your face death care piece of that name. And she's like, can't you kind of couch it or like soften the blow. And so I had to take that under advisement. You know, I was kind of doing a little, seeing how it kind of landed.
Yep.
And I came back and I wanted to get your opinion. I came back that no, that I want to say
Yes, ma'am.
what I'm doing.
Yes. I love it. Delta, love, love, love. So, and I love that you brought it to the group. So I want to share with you that number one, you're never going to make 100% of the people happy. So let's just get this clear that there's going to be different people. I remember when I first started this and I wanted to say death doula, and my mother literally went, "Oh, you can't call it that." She's terrified of aging and of end of life. I mean, ironic, right? We're in this family. I get there's reasons though, but she was like, no. And so I actually did. And I was like, end of life doula. And it's all good. You know, the news loves death doula. And it's also kind of, you know, coming back into that natural fold. But you will not make 100% of the people happy. This needs to come from a pure energetic space within you, what you feel is right. So make sure you sit with something and say, is that the right, should I change it? Or is that her fear being triggered and imposing it on me? But I know this is right. And so, my love, you are correct. I feel you. I love that you said no. Yes, that is that heart guidance direction that will always bring you to where you need to go. Now, with that being said, Delta, when you share Delsa's death care, do you know how many seeds you're planting within that? And I'm not saying to everyone here that you have to put death in your title. You don't. If you feel like doing a life care, if you feel like doing a doula giver, whatever it is, make sure it resonates with you. But every time we do something, there's a reason for it. And planting seeds is a huge part of what we do, just with being able to step into, what do you mean one day I'm going to die? What do you mean one day my mom's going to die? This is directly related to so much of the suffering we see right now is because people just don't acknowledge it, plan, have the skills for something that's 100% guaranteed. You know, we know that 100 years ago, this is something that was part of the family's handed down, but it's time to bring it back. So death is having a rebirth, and you are ambassadors to help bring that about in the most loving, beautiful, and inspiring way. So I think it's perfect. And just,
Thank you.
And you know it's for you to do.
I do too. I was a little worried about using my name, but then I thought, okay, I actually renamed myself back in 1987, changed my whole name to Delta Waters. And I just saw it as such a symbol. The Delta is the transition from land to sea, fresh water to, you know, so it's a transitional thing. So thank you.
Yeah, no, very, very cool. I will give you one piece of advice to everybody. When you are actually working in the space with a family in crisis, sometimes to come in as an end of life doula, a death doula, is a lot for them because this has happened so quickly and they're resisting. I've had many a family, I don't need you yet. It's fantastic. We love you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you needed this weeks ago. So if you share the doula giver, what is a doula giver? It's a holistic non-medical practitioner that cares spiritually, emotionally, and physically for people in serious illness or at the end of life, whatever that, and that's exactly what you do. Sometimes that allows people's walls to go down. And I'll just give you one example of, and again, I always listen to my intuition. I never do anything other than that. When COVID hit, and I was doing death cafes in New York City, and I was so worried about not only the people that come there, but all the people that were shut down, the isolation. But I said, okay, I'm going to flip them online. I'm going to do 3 a week, but I can't do Death Cafe because people are all, you know, I'm going to call it Life Cafe. And here we are today because they're not exclusive of one another. So when we talk about death, we're talking about life. And when I start talks like that, people go, oh, okay, let's talk. And so just think in terms of all of that, but make sure it just resonates with what you're feeling to do, and then it's perfect. Love it. Thank you for that.
Everyone.
Thank you. Luna, where did you go, my dear? Did you pop off? I'm trying to see because my screen sometimes jumps around. Oh, we got 2 pages now. Okay. Luna, if you are there, you want to unmute yourself, you can go ahead and take the mic. If not, we'll jump to someone else. Sometimes, oh, there she is. Okay, Luna, your hand is down though now. So I'm going to go, if you want to come back on for sure. We're going to go to Melanie. Hey, Melanie.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. So I just wanted to say that, kind of piggybacking off of what we were just discussing with Delta, I feel like I wanted to share because I'm going through a lot of things with my parents. My mom has Alzheimer's. My dad told me that he doesn't know if he'll make it to his next birthday in March, and not because he doesn't want to, but primarily because his body is having difficulties. He's having trouble. He can get around, but he just has a hard time. So with that being said, I've learned a lot in dealing with him, well, and with both of them, but with my dad, he's always been really strong and really shut down. And we actually didn't get along for many years. I moved back 2 years ago, October 30th, to help because my sister and I are 16 years apart. And she was basically freaking out. And she's like, you got to come home. I need you to come home. I can't do this. I have 7 siblings. And of all of us, I probably have the most experiences with death and helping people. So she just knew I needed to come home. So I did. With that being said, the experiences that I've had, I truly feel led. Like, I know that it's God, it's my higher power. It's the universe is drawing me to help people. And that's how it's been in all the experiences that I've had. And I mean, like, where you really look back and you can feel that you were being drawn to do things. And so with my dad, he didn't want to plan. He didn't want to talk about death. He didn't want to do anything. Well, he messaged me this morning and said, I found 2 movies. I want you to come over and watch with me. And he's like, I can tell that he's excited about my journey in doing this. He's become more open. He had my other sister come out from Indianapolis and like go to do all the banking and get her name on things so that if something were to happen to them. He's done a lot more prepping because we were all upset at one point because he wouldn't even talk about it. He's like, there's a black box in the basement, figure it out. And we're like, what?
No.
So I'm feeling extremely blessed to be on this journey with him. And, like we tried to get things for my mom, like get someone to come in, through Alzheimer's to like help with things. And he got pissed off and he's like, no, I can handle this myself, but I'm starting to feel now he's like, do you think you could talk to the neighbor about helping us get to the grocery store? Because even now I live about a half hour to 40 minutes from them. So I'm close enough where I can get over there, but I'm not there all the time. But it's really been a journey, but I really feel like Delta, with your name of your business, you're being called to name it that. And I really feel that deep down, like really, really, really spiritually, I feel like, like it's important. And as much as it may be in their face, you're right. But you know what? You're going to get people to think about it. It may have to roll around a little while. It may have to, it's kind of like with my dad, it may need to ruminate for a little bit, but that's okay.
It's more than okay.
Yeah, it really is. It is. And I know it seems crazy, but I just had to say it out loud because I don't know.
I love it. Melanie, you will never regret going home and being with your family. You'll never regret that. I love that so much. But what you said here, and I want to highlight it, is all we have to do is listen. Show. All we have to do, life can be so simple. And again, it's counterintuitive to how we're programmed and everything. But if you really pay attention to this, and again, practice it and be gentle with yourself, there's no right or wrong. But if you listen to your heart and you show up, everything, that's the key to everything. And it just unfolds in such a beautiful flowing way. Right. And you are being led. In fact, when you get the hard lessons, when you get things that really, and let's use illness as an example, because a lot of us, obviously we're doula givers and we work in this space, but I've, worked with so many patients that they would say that cancer was the best thing that happened to me. And I couldn't really understand this as a young nurse. I couldn't wrap my head around it. What it did was it provided them with no outlet other than being still. Not being able to run or fix it or achieve or put attachment to other things. It's like, who am I? Now, it doesn't happen for everyone. We're on our journey, but the universe is guiding us. And when we're clearly going down the wrong path, it's going to give you roadblocks. It's going to give you signs. And here's just a real pearl. It gives you those signs. It gives you a little tap, gives you a little whisper. And if you ignore it, if you push it away, it comes back and it gives you a bigger one. And then if you ignore that too, it comes back and it gives you something that you can't ignore. Let's not wait to that moment. Let's try and really be in tune with that heart. And all you have to do is sit with yourself, just like Melanie said, and say, wow, does this feel right? And just like Delta said, no, this is the name. Like, this is the name. And there's a reason for it. And again, there are many times in the very beginning when I would talk about this, there are people who, I stopped doing it on my personal page in Facebook, and I'll admit that. I stopped posting about end of life on my personal page because there's lots of my friends who don't want to talk about this all the time. And I'm very into it. So I put it on, our business page, and we have plenty of outlets for that because it's not for everyone to all the time be, marinating in this. I love it. And so many people are, but I could tell there's some people that just wanted to talk about high school or whatever it was. So know that you're planting seeds. And again, yes, there were times that people were like, I can't believe you're talking about end of life. But then they were like, hey, can I ask you a question? Like weeks later. So follow your heart. All you got to do. I love it. I love it so much. And just to reiterate, those little things that you can incorporate for your dad, like the grocery shopping, taking those little tasking places off, and even giving him a few hours of respite here and there can dramatically change things for him, allowing him. And of course, that will be adjusted as needed. But
yeah, I agree. And that's something that I also learned. And then also, I know that you had also talked recently about the self-care. Oh, and can you do me a favor and remind us on the days that we're having our Tuesday meetings? Remind me about today, because I have so many things I'm doing. Like, I was so excited to see this today. And even like the one that I missed the other day. It's so great that you're reposting some of these recordings because obviously with people being in different time zones and having different life things happening, it's really awesome to be able to have this space to be able to connect. I mean, I really loved at the beginning when I was able to jump on that Zoom on that Saturday morning, and we all connected and talked, and then you broke us out into groups. I loved that. That really inspired me, and it was nice to be able to share with each other. And I just felt like such community and such love. And I was just so excited because you're right. I feel like there's a lot of people in this space that don't have a way to be able to talk about this as openly as we're able to, because of being called to do this kind of work.
For sure, Melanie. So absolutely, death is the number one fear worldwide. So, we have a lot. You all have this gift of knowledge, comfort, wisdom within this space, and you're being called to share that, right? So that you can help other people. So I love the community, and our team has been talking about some more ongoing workshops and get-togethers because there is such momentum and beautiful community here. So we'll be letting you know that as well. And we really are trying to pick times where it can hopefully accommodate everyone. And then of course we'll do the replays, but thank you for reiterating that. That's really great. All right, my love, good love to you and your family, and keep us posted on that.
Thanks.
Luna, your hand is back up, and then Karen. Well, hello. Unmute, my dear. But be careful driving if you're driving.
Good morning. I pulled over, but I'm driving.
Okay.
And then I got a call. So good to see everybody.
Yes.
And I always am amazed by people. So I had a client that I took on last week, and I was actually hired to photograph them. They're in hospice. She's a 50-year-old female with pancreatic cancer, and she got the diagnosis, I guess, just several months ago, and she's already within the past week. I mean, I've been there 4 times now, and her son is 17, and he is just the greatest little guy. And we've actually bonded. So I did some Reiki on them. I took the photos, I presented the photos, and they loved them. And he said that she hadn't even really talked or anything. And then, we did the photo session, and she talked and shared stories with me. And I just listened, and it was just so, I don't know, it was just so cute to see both of them together.
Yeah.
And his birthday is today.
Wow.
So my last visit with them was yesterday, and I did some sound healing and Reiki on them and the sun. Then her mother came when I left. But, you know, he was saying, she told me that she was going to stay till my birthday. And I'm thinking, okay, this is really tough because, all her signs, everything were showing that she should have been gone on Monday when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just, I don't know. It was just really, he's like, we have this bond, my father's been absent, so we have each other. And he goes, I get what's happening with her, but at the same time, I want her to be there for my birthday. And then, she promised me. And I said, you know what, birthdays come and go, and, but we're here in life right now. So, you've been caring for your mom since she got this diagnosis, and that's very commendable. And, you've stepped up like a real man, and you're only 17. We're going to be 18. And I said, and, that love that your mother shared with you and taught you. And it's just, oh my God, my heart was already melting. And then it just even melted more. And I just checked this morning before I called you guys, and she's still alive for his birthday. So when I talked to her last week, I guess that was the last time she spoke when I did the photo session, she really was, with all the signs and everything, she was still hanging on. So I just really am hoping and praying that, that she doesn't pass today. It's kind of, it really affected me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a lot there. I mean, here's a very young person.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the father hasn't been part of this dynamic. And I'm so glad you're there. Like I keep hearing, I'm so glad you're there with this family. The spirit of the person trumps anything. It really does. I've seen, I know, choice of
That's
words.
why I'm so amazed.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
I had a woman. Okay. And then I want to talk a little bit more about this young man. It sounds miraculous, but I had a woman who hung on for her 100th birthday. Passed. There's no way, science said, there's no way she can be alive. I'm like, sitting here. I'm sitting with her every day. She has not eaten. She has not had anything to drink in 10 days. She won't have her end of life. We finally figured it out that her birthday was coming in 4 days, and she did it on her birthday. Good for her turning 100 and doing that. But so people will hang on. And so again, we have to kind of support wherever this is going. But
yeah,
what is the plan for the young man after his mom dies? Does he?
They lived in San Diego. So they still have the apartment, I guess, through January. And the grandmother has been back and forth because my client's mother or grandmother just got into skilled nursing, and they said she probably only has a week or two left. So they said they're probably going to put her in hospice next week. So, and she doesn't know about that, my client. And so my client's mother is going back and forth from the skilled nursing in Colorado to San Diego, back and forth. So
wow.
She just arrived here on Monday again, and she said, I'm going to stay here with my grandson for like a month and get settled. But she goes, I think he's going to go back for Colorado, and then we'll prepare him if he wants to, get all set up if he wants to come back. So
okay, good. So he has that support chain.
Yeah.
Really,
yeah, but
yeah.
They already put. I suggested to the social worker, counseling, bereavement counseling prior to her passing, and they put him in like a week and a half ago. So
I love that.
Just for that support, because I was like, oh my God, this guy, he really opened up to me too. We really bonded, and I was just present for him.
Beautiful.
And it was just a beautiful thing that he was, he was sharing so many things. And then, Monday when I was there, I did a little Reiki on them and just like to, clear and have a peaceful passing, because she's all modeled and everything already. So I thought, it's going to be Monday night when I'm here. And then, no, she's still here. So, but then she hadn't spoke since the photos last week. And then she opened her eyes and she said, "Oh, Luna, I wanted you to come back and you came back. You said you were going to try to come back and you came back." And then she shut her eyes and she's been out again. So it was just like, I'm just so amazed by this client. And
well, here you go. I mean, you guys have to realize, get your hands off the wheel, because there's a whole big thing happening. So when people, and we never know, right? But we're there to just show up to be in that place of service. But when people do not have their end of life, when it really looks like, again, everything is pointing that they're there, I always look for like one of three reasons. If somebody is waiting for something to be resolved, or somebody to get settled, they're worried about people there, forgiveness, all those kind of things. Are they waiting for someone to come? Sometimes if somebody's on their way, I say, tell them, but that's even more of the minor one. And are they waiting for you to step away from the bed? So I'll look for, is there a significant birthday or holiday or something? And it's just amazing, again, that it defies science sometimes what you're seeing. And you just have to. So that's why I always say with doula work, plan on the long period of time with your loved ones and clients, because if a doctor says, well, 2 weeks, people are like, okay, that 2 weeks. And then if they don't have that 2 weeks, this person could be burnt out, not have support. Like, we have to plan on what it is and just love it every step of the way and see what we can do in that moment to moment. And
so true, Suzanne. Yes.
I'm so glad you're there with this young man.
Yeah. So we'll see. So he said, "Can you come back and do the sound healing again tomorrow?" That was yesterday. And I go, "Okay, I will." Because I'm thinking, if she's still there and it's your birthday, I'll make some time to come back. Yes.
Beautiful. So beautiful. Yeah. Well, we'll be adding them into our prayer today. That is really wonderful.
Yeah, they're really special people. I mean, this whole group gets that. I mean, there's so many just special little angels that come into your life. So it's a blessing.
Many. They're all over, guys. If we okay, so this reminds me of one of our doulas was working with a man, and at the end he was transitioning, and he had his family around his bed. And at the end he sat up and he said, he looked around, they said, and he goes, "I never knew how many angels I had around me." So how beautiful, number one, is that? But also, we all have so many angels around us.
Yeah.
Be present, meet people where they are, see it in they're there. We just are passing each other. We're just not, I mean, what a wonderful awareness that is. The person at the grocery store, the person who might be that person who doesn't have a home that's living on the street corner. You don't know. Don't judge everyone. Such good stuff. Luna, sending you so much love with that family. Keep us posted, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Karen.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
A couple things. I've been out shaking trees because I am going to be contributing a substantial amount to the 1 million people trained. Yay. So every day I have a different networking little group.
Shake those trees. I love that.
I know it. It's
fun.
My
gosh. Okay.
And it's this networking group that we've got 40 different branches in Cincinnati, and you've got to pay to belong, but you can go twice at no charge. Okay. So I'm doing 1 all around the city talking about it without having to pay, but that's okay. The other thing is I found this really cool online. I'm sure Doulagivers generated it. It's called The Power of the Doulagiver Specialist. And in my mind, I've been trying to put in a succinct way exactly the components of a Doulagiver specialist.
Yeah.
And this is perfect. I love it. It's, it's the information about our training at the bottom, but it puts it in a beautiful flow. So I kind of condensed that, and I've been using that quite a bit also. And then the last thing is, when I'm in these networking groups, I'm explaining basically, the sequence of what we do as a specialist and at the end of life, and coordinating with the family, the advanced directives, and everyone's on the same page. And it's like afterwards, everyone's coming up to me with like wanting post-death information, like, well, what do you think it means with blah, blah? And this one man came up, he said, my dad died at my sister's wedding, right after the father-daughter dance. What do you think that means? And I said, I think it means your sister was gifted. Your father's soul hung on long enough to share that precious moment with her. It's a gift, and he was saying, oh, we'll never look at the wedding the same way. I said, that's your choice, but you can choose to look at it in a fantastic way. So, and different people came up to me and said their parents have advanced directives, but they don't want to hear about it. The one woman said, my parents keep saying, okay, sit down, I want to tell you this. And she goes, we just keep saying, nope, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it.
Too bad.
And I said, wow, here's your parents had the courage to make these plans for their end of life so that you won't have to do it. And you're not listening to it now while they're still in good health. This is the perfect time to do it. So you can debate an option they might have chosen that you would not have chosen. So it's like this whole thing is so multidimensional, the work that we're doing out in the community. And
yes, it is.
That's it.
That's it. That's everything. You can drop the mic on that one. There's just so much here because, you're talking about life. You're talking about the different phases in the work of a doula-giver specialist. Again, we have never in history seen an aging population and an elder population like we have now, and we do not have the setup for it. So it's not just the advanced directive, it's the living well aging plan.
Right.
People have no idea how much that costs. Do they know about granny pods? Do we know about doula houses? Like we need different setups, but I love that it's all happening for you because you've been planting seeds and doing it. And I would just want to share about your adult children not wanting to talk about this. You know what? Look, there are certain things in life that, it's uncomfortable. And then you realize how much better it is when you have it. And the fact that somebody actually did their advanced directive and made their choices, the least that the people can do, because you know what, it's a gift to them. But what I will also share is everyone has a price. So your dog, you want them to do something, you have a little treat, right? But what we want to do, and this comes from the premise of Death Cafe. Death Cafe was started by Bernard Crittaz in Switzerland. He goes, we're not talking about death. And this is, decades ago. He goes, I know. He goes, we'll hold them in like coffee houses and we'll have like coffee and tea and treats. So you're nourishing the soul as you have this uncomfortable conversation. So it balances it out. So I say, make a lasagna, get brownies and cookies, have everyone sitting down and then say, just gift me 30 minutes of your time. I want to share this with you because it's the greatest gift that I can give to you. Or you can give examples. It's something that just has to be done.
Right. It's not my adult children. It was somebody else's. So.
Oh, no, I know that. I've
harassed mine enough. And then one quick question.
Yeah.
The presentation that we'll be giving for this training, is it 90 minutes long?
So let's talk about that for a minute, because it's so exciting. All of the things that are part of this 1 million people. So it's called now, How to Care for Someone Who's Dying, The Good Death, 1 Million People Trained campaign. So that's the feedback we got from our focus group, which is great. Because again, do you know that How to Care for Someone Who's Dying has been Googled 500 million times?
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked to people and they said, and I talked to, groups of people, not just in this space, because we're very close to it, right? And they said, okay, love this. I don't know what 1 million training, like you want it to be clear. But she said, when my dad was dying, I go right to the computer and put in How to Care for Someone Who's Dying. And so I was like, right. So we need to share with people that this is what we're sharing, this education to support people. And there's so many reasons why. So how it will work is that, of course, you can be an ambassador or a collaborator, and we're setting up lots of support and so many turnkey things for you. So that will be rolled out. It is a 90-minute training. I am going to teach it live every month. It's not for you to necessarily give. So let me explain that. It makes it easy in the continuity. If you share with people, this is the training, this is when you can access it live and ask live questions every single month. Then I am going to follow up every month with the discussion and support group. If you'd like to join that and ask more questions about it, that's really your beautiful sauce where you can then support that community on that monthly ongoing basis and really raise that awareness. So I hope this helps. It just keeps it in continuity. Some people are not comfortable with teaching it. It just makes it work. And it seems great. So we'll have all that for you. And of course,
Perfect.
you can always do
Thank
the
you.
power. Yeah, definitely, guys. I'm so excited about it. We have so many people joining and different people, different organizations joining to be collaborators because they believe in this space. And again, it touches all of us. So lots of love here. And thank you, Karen, for all of that you shared. I'm so excited for you. Yay. You have to unmute, my dear. I forget to, and I do this all the time. So there you go. We're human.
Okay.
There you go. Hello.
Hi. Hello. I went to my volunteer job yesterday at the assisted living facility in walking distance from my home. And there was a patient laying on the floor. And because someone falls on the floor, they have to call an ambulance. And it turns out he fell out of his wheelchair. And then later, my 2-hour visit, I was feeding people, and they have, because of my attention or presence or concerns, they have changed her caseload, the woman who's in charge of 10 people down to 4 people sometimes. And one person was back who had been in the hospital for falling, and then she fell again and had to go back. So I'm like, aren't there seatbelts or bungee cords or something we can put on these wheelchairs? And they were like, oh, no, that's against the law. Or that's against, the government won't let people in assisted living be restrained. Restrained. Okay, so I came home and looked up, Googled lap trays, because high chairs have trays and they don't let.
That's right.
Okay, so they make them. And so I emailed the director who I've been in touch with, and sent this. I'm not sure if this will pass as quasi restraining device, but hopefully I might have a business selling trays to nursing homes.
If I remember correctly, and if things haven't changed, I do believe that you can have that tray and not have it considered a restraint. But Gay, I love, listen, the most important thing I think in life is that when you're faced with an obstacle, find a way, get creative, think of it. This is exactly why Doulagivers is here, because when I would go to the hospice way back in the day and say, people are, having end of life, it's not going as well as we would hope. I want to be there more. We can't do it, the reimbursement, and that's all we can do. That is not all we can do. We have to figure out a way here. And thank you for, my trip to Zimbabwe, Africa, working with Island Hospice there, really solidifying the power of the presence being the best medicine that we could ever give. Having that person journey with that family for the duration, like a doula. We can do this. We can take it out of the model. I mean, just keep looking for a way. And thank you, Gay. So I'll be curious to let me know how that works out. I love a good baby monitor too, not necessarily in assisted living, but also because it picks up the nuances of sound for families if their loved one is trying to get out of bed at a certain point. And so there's different things that we can try, and I love it. Good work. From 10 to 4 people, you're working your magic. Anyone else want to do one more share before we do our closing? It is Wednesday. It is the week before Thanksgiving. I want to thank you all. I mean, I am so full of gratitude all of the time for all of you who show up and do this work and are making such a difference. I also know that this year feels like a real difference to me than where we were last year at this time. And I think just to honor that, and I'm not trying to say anything, but I know plenty of, because we work with family dynamics, right? So holidays bring up things. And many times, I hear people say, oh, I have to go to the family, such and such and such. And last year we weren't able to, right? It wasn't even an option. And so I think, again, perspective changes everything. And so looking at it like, wow, we're able, a lot of us, to go be in a space, even if it's somebody is going to be there who is not your favorite person, let's meet them with our pearls, no judgment. Everyone's on their journey, and also just look at it for the beauty that is right here. So I want to, really express my gratitude to all of you as well. Of course, we'll have Life Cafe next Wednesday as well. Irene, let's hear from you, my dear.
Yes, thank you, Suzanne, and hi, everyone.
Hello.
Yes, Suzanne, I just want to having a question, something that has been going in my mind, and I've been battling with it. And the fact that you've had some experience working in Africa, in Zimbabwe, I just want to hear from you what you would think about launching out this whole doulagiver business as a business in Africa, given all the limitations around and, the constraints within the healthcare system, the poverty around and all that, because I tend to get caught up in the middle of being this support, this person who is supporting, and then also being kind of expecting me to also come in and be a caregiver. A case point like for the few people that have supported along this journey, you reach a point where they also expect you to contribute financially, because the whole issue is the finances. The person is in hospital, they are suffering, there are a lot of safety issues, they're in so much pain, but the family doesn't have the money to be able to meet the expenses, and you feel this pain. So you don't want to act like, no, I'm just here to support you, but the vital issues have not been taken care of. So you tend to be pulled into having to raise some money to support. So I've been really thinking about it, and every time I'm on the call, I'm hearing the sharing, I'm always trying to sieve and say, okay, where do I come in? How can I handle this? So today I felt that I probably could consult you and find what you think about it.
For sure. And I want to share with you that I feel like your same dynamic that you're speaking of almost is relevant in other areas, but looking very differently. So what do I charge? And, and how do I do that? And what about when people have no money? Like, how do we get support services and all of that? So what I will share is this is sort of again, an ongoing for a bit with the business building section of it, which we will have meetings and you have lots of training on that. But particularly for where you are located, I think you have to know what is gauging, what is the availability and the need of resources. So what I've done with our business, and also what I put out the model to doula givers for their practice, is to have what's called like a tier model. So you have a price that you choose to have for your hourly rate or packages that feels comfortable to you within your area. Now, if somebody can't do that, then there's a sliding scale. So you work with somebody what they can, and if somebody can't do that, then there's a donation that you should decide on, how can I support them with hours, maybe not there the whole time, it depends on your schedule. But the point is that we never want to turn anyone away from services. With that being said, you still need to supply food on your table and pay your rent. So what I've done with our doula givers business is those who can pay for training, fantastic. And then I take a portion of that and I put into free donations and do that out there. So I if somebody can, and it's not a stress on people, fantastic. But then the people who can afford it, we still serve them as well. So sort of having that balance, and we'll talk more, you and I, and also as you're building this out in your beautiful country, because it's so very needed. And we want to show up, but we also want to make it that it's workable for you to be able to do and be sustainable. Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome. I have to say that, in Zimbabwe, it was just such an incredible experience, but also the amazing practitioners, heart-centered, it changed my life forever. And I'll share some of those beautiful photos. It just taught me so much, and I'm so grateful for them. All right, everyone, we are going to do our closing prayer. And again, this is something that you can all do at any time you want. I tend to like to do this in the beginning of the day before I kind of get going and what I call get my day hijacked. I just sit quietly and I sort of really, stay in that liminal space of, and I had some really, really incredible dreams last night, but that's a whole nother story. Staying in that, in that space of bringing in your intention, of bringing in your light, connecting with your heart guidance, Checking the head is always going to tell you you're late already. You have a ton of emails, da, 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 da. Checking with your heart and also checking in with you. How are you doing? What do you need? Have I pushed, like, do I need some rest? Do I need to go out and get some air? Of course, yes, yes, and yes. But really taking that space in the morning, you can do this prayer and it really works beautifully, this meditation. We're going to bring in the light. You can close your eyes if you feel called to, you don't have to. We're going to bring in the light to ourselves and then we're going to send it out, this healing light to the world and everyone in it. Okay, breathe in through your nose and hold for a second if you can, and out through your mouth. Breathe in and hold and let it go. Breathe in and hold and let it go. And when you breathe out, let go of anything and everything that is not serving your highest consciousness. Breathe in and hold and let it go. And now you imagine that you are outside and the clouds part and the sun is so bright right above your head. It's coming to the top of your head. And now you actually feel a little tingling at the top of your head as it's opening up the top of your head and pouring into your body, this golden, beautiful, loving light. You feel so peaceful, so connected, joyful, not a care in the world, just present, fully present in this moment of love. This light is going down your spine, through your chakras, through your root chakra, and it's washing away anything and everything that is not serving your highest consciousness. Going through your root chakra to the center of the earth, swirling around, knowing that we are all connected. Now, as it comes back up, it's going through your root chakra and going up your spine, again, through all of your chakras, through the top of your head. You are fully connected now with this golden light. As it comes back down, it's going to expand about 6 feet from your physical body. All of your aura, all of your cells are being bathed in this beautiful, joyful, peaceful light. Going down your spine through your root chakra, now swirling around the center of the earth, picking up momentum. And as it comes back up now, we're going to, with intention, through our heart chakra, send this light out to everyone in this group and to the world at large. Here it comes. If you're called to, again, put your hands on your heart chakra. And as this light comes up, send it out with intention through your heart chakra to each and everyone in this group, swirling around each and every one of you. Now we're going to expand this light out further to your loved ones and family members. Now this light is going to expand further to your community members. Yes, every single one. Nobody's left out. We're all connected. Now, please take the state and/or province you live in your mind's eye and surround it in a golden bubble of light, sending everyone this loving light of truth, of connection, of consciousness. Now, please take the earth globe in your mind's eye and surround it in either a golden bubble of light and/or a golden pyramid, letting every single being, every animal, every part of nature, every element feel this golden loving light of love being sent. We see you, we hear you, we are here together. And let's sit in that energy. So many people are hurting right now and challenged. We just want them to know that they are seen and heard and not judged, and that we are here together. At this time, please add in anyone or anything you'd like this group healing and intention sent to. Of course, we're going to add Luna's family and everyone else who has a family member, a client, anyone they know that, again, is having an intense time at this moment, and we know it's intense. And that just should really validate the importance of not judging each other, showing up and meeting each other where we are in our journey, and knowing that presence, our true presence of seeing and hearing someone, is the best medicine we could ever give. And please understand that you showing up, listening and showing up, you don't have to do anything, you have to be everything. So when you show up with somebody, just sit alongside them in that space of love. That is everything. Always check in with your heart and let it guide you. It'll never steer you wrong. Let's breathe into that. And we always want to give gratitude and thanks for being able to be a part of this journey at this time. And we humbly ask that we see, hear, and know how we can show up to be of the highest service now and always. Breathe in. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes and come back into the room. If you feel like it, you can throw up some hearts, everyone. I have to say, this is probably one of the best, if not the best parts of my week. Let's do more of it. I will take a picture. So much love here. So please always remember, let's practice being a human being, not humans doing. Slow down to speed up and just open that heart. Thank you all for being here. Have a fantastic day, everyone, and we'll see you in the groups. Mwah.